Hey, most welcome to my channel once again. Yeah, today we shall be implementing a leap year finder in Python, and I've already created a file. Feel free to create a file or to code along. So as usual, I like to know what exactly we should be doing before we start what you're going to implement. My name is AfroBoyTex and I'm glad that you're here. I'm also known as Ronnie Atuhaire as the original name. So a leap year and a common year, that's what we shall be trying to find out in this simple program that will basically use if and or statements, unless you want to advance whatever program you'll be doing. So since the introduction of the Gregorian calendar in 1582, we know that there's a rule that is being followed to implement, which is a leap year and which one is not a leap year. If that year isn't divisible by 4, it's a common year. If that year number, in other words, isn't divisible by 100, it's a leap year. Or if that year isn't divisible by 400 also, it's a common year. Otherwise, we shall return a leap year. So basically here, it's actually a doc string. As you realize, it has three quotations. Okay, triple quotations, and it's basically a doc string. We could wrap up this into a function, and that function will just basically be, if you call doc string on that function, if you read about doc strings, about the function names, function parameters, and function returns, okay, about the function, what the function is implementing, this is what we usually wrap up. It's a doc string. So example, we know leap years. This is an example of a list I got from Google. You can see 2000 is a leap year, 2004, 2008, 2044, all these numbers are divisible by 4. Then 2096, then from this 2096 we see that 2100 is not a leap year. Yes, it's not a leap year because it isn't divisible by 400, though it is divisible by 100. So if it isn't divisible by 400, it's a common year. So we see here it's not a leap year. It's not that. That's why the rule doesn't say that every 4 years, but we all know that every 4 years from now it's actually a leap year, because I'm recording this video in 2021. So last year was actually a leap year, as you can see here, 2024, 2028, and so on and so on. So with that information in our mind, let's get started. So we shall start with a function definition. We shall create a function. Yeah, I like doing pseudocode first. Leap year function. Then under leap year we shall have user input variable. Remember, we need a variable to check if it's true, if it is a leap year or it's a common year. Then we shall have a message. We shall have a leap year message. Under the function, we shall say leap year message, then common year message. Common year message. Then there we shall implement if divisible by 4, as our first rule. Then our else if it's indivisible by 100. Then it is divisible by 400. Otherwise, we shall have to return a leap year. Okay, let's get started. So our function, we shall call it leap year finder. We can actually call it leap year. Then it takes in user input. So that's a variable we shall have here. Let's call it user year. We shall have an input. We shall say enter valid year. But we want to make sure that what the user is inputting is an integer. So we wrap this input function under int. Then we create, this is just a container for creating a message that we shall return if it's a leap year or if it's not a leap year. Let's first indent this. So leap year message, let's call it leap. Let's call it leap m. Shall call it shall say it's a leap year. Then common year message, and say call this common. It's common year. So from there we shall start our if statements, checking to see. We shall implement an if statement to see what we are doing, like the year that this user is inputting is a leap year or a common year. But before actually we check for this, remember there's a rule that says the year must begin from 1582 and above. So I think we shall implement this first. This is the Gregorian calendar. Gregorian calendar starts from 1582 and later years. So we shall have to implement this first. Actually, this will be our first if statement, such that we remove, in case someone puts 47 or 1500, because we know 1500 that was during Julian Caesar calendar. These guys were popes, and if you can go and read more about history, how these calendars came about. At first, that's the calendar the world was using generally. There are many types of calendars. Then until 1582, when we adopted to the Gregorian calendar by Pope 13 Gregory. So we first check if the year is really bigger than, or if it is really greater than 1582. 1582 is an integer, so here we shall use an if statement. We shall say if user year is less than or equal to 1582, we shall return, let's return an F string here. Let's say this user year is not from Gregorian calendar. Please input. Okay, can just say that it's not from Gregorian calendar. Close. So now we start our other if checks. So if we said if the year if user year, first go back to our rules. You can first go back and check the rules. If the year number isn't divisible by 4, it's a common year. So that's very simple. We come down here, we say we are just going to use modulus here. If user year isn't divisible by 4. So we say if you use a year, modulus by 4 is not equal to 0. In other words, if this year divided by 4 and the remainder doesn't give us 0, that means, sorry about that, that means it's a what? It's a leap year. If the year isn't divisible by 4, it's a common year. Sorry, it means it's not a common year. So here we shall return. Remember our variables that we put up, this is why we use them. So our common year is leap M. Then we check also divisibility by 100. A leaf user year modulus by 100 is not equal to 0. So here we shall return the leap. Actually, it's supposed to be common message. Then I think this is a leap year. We shall check the rule up. So let's scroll up and you see the rule for 100. The rule says if the year isn't divisible by 100, if it isn't divisible by 100, then it's a leap year. So we are right. So it's a leap year. We call leap year. Then we go back to 400. So if it is that year, basically here using modulus function, 400 is not equal to 0. That means this is a common year. Let's first save this. Let's first check the rule up. The rule says if that year isn't, or that number isn't divisible by 400, it's a common year. Otherwise, return a leap year. So basically, here we return else. Return leap year. Let's first save this. So we're going to test our program. Don't worry, if there are any errors, we shall fix them. That's why we are learning together. Let's save this. We can bring this doc string, we wrap it up in our function, get it off from here, put it in our function to make more sense, because you can see it returns an integer, which is a year. So we come here down, we save our file, and you can run the program. Python program is called leap year finder.py. So if you call it leap year, it's a bit lengthy. You can choose any name here, it doesn't matter. So we run our program and you see nothing happens. Let's run it again. Nothing happens. So we come back. There's something we forgot to do. Yeah, that's basically calling the function. You can call the function with a print statement. Our function doesn't take anything. So go back, we save and then go back and run our function. It says enter valid year. We say 2021. It gives us it's a common year. Let's test another one. Say it's a 2020. It says it's a leap year. That seems to be working. Let's say 1990. It's a common year. Let's say 2100. It's a common year. So our function, our program is running very well, and that's it. Thank you so much for watching up to this moment. If you have any issues, please kindly let me in the comments, and also help me subscribe to that button. Please help me click that button and the notification bell, and more content is on the way coming. Thank you as usual. See you, my friend.